Stock report.
Hey, good Wednesday to you. It's time once again for RFD Illinois. I'm DeLoss Yankee. Rita Frazier will be along in a little bit, and coming up on the program today, we'll have market update. We'll also have an updated weather forecast, just how much rain is expected to come our way, not just today, but later in the week, in some cases Friday through Monday, and hearing some reports to the west of us of some pretty substantial amounts on this current system. But when they talk about chances for rain over multiple states like this, beyond the Corn Belt all the way into to the East Coast, that's not a good thing. So we'll get an updated forecast in a little bit. One of the things we'll talk about today, I was in the Pike County area yesterday, was in Griggsville, which is the home of the Western Illinois Fair. It gets underway in full today. Talked with Ed Logan at Logan Agri-Service on just what to do with, especially with what looks like the good part of the corn crop. In his area, said they've had 3 or 4 different planting periods this year, some of it that got in on schedule or maybe even a little early. Looking pretty good. What do we do with those acres to make sure we maximize production? Because who knows what these yield numbers are going to be, but thankfully the price is more attractive than it has been in recent years. We'll get into that and a whole lot more on a Wednesday, RFD Illinois. Stay with us.
All Ag.
All Illinois.
All Now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All Ag, all Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
Hi, this is Sabrina Hardy, RFD Business Manager. I want to thank you for listening to the RFD Radio Network, the #1 ag radio network in Illinois. Did you know RFD Radio Network's programming is being broadcast by Rita Frazier and DeLoss Yankee with a combined 50 years of broadcasting experience? Join us daily. If you have any questions, email me at chardy@ilfb.org.
Welcome back to RFD Illinois. I'm DeLoss Yankee. For most, it's been a difficult planting year and growing season thus far. It has been a difficult input season for ag retailers as well. Ed Logan is president of Logan Agri-Service in Griggsville, headquarters on the eastern edge of Pike County, and this difficult time goes all the way back to fall applied anhydrous season.
I think you could sum up the fertilizer year in one word. This would be for fall and spring, and that would be awful. Last fall, in this region of Illinois, we are big in fall-applied anhydrous ammonia. In our company specifically, last fall, we got on less than 10% of the normal tons that we would apply in the fall in anhydrous ammonia. Dry fertilizer last fall was actually pretty good. We had a little window of opportunity there in October and early November to get a little dry fertilizer on. This spring has been very trying. Logan Ag in Pike County and Scott County has 3 ammonia operations, 3 storage tanks with nurse wagons. We were very busy at particular times. Actually, we still pulled a few tanks out within the last 10 days. So there's still a little pre-plant ammonia was going on 10 days ago, but that's all over now. Dry fertilizer this spring was essentially non-existent in a lot of locations. What we have seen that's a big change is that there was a lot of corn planted without the benefit of a pre-emerge nitrogen application. And so we've done a lot of post-emerge work, primarily with urea.
Ed Logan at Logan Agri-Service in Griggsville. Got to say, though, Getting to that area, home of the Western Illinois Fair, you saw some corn that looked awfully good. Looked like it actually got in on time. And how do we maximize yield potential then on those best corn acres that we have, especially since the price of corn is more attractive than it's been in years? Logan says growth regulators could be a key this year.
We can, with these products, increase the above-ground plant growth by 1.5 to 2 growth stages with the use of growth regulators. That's going to add 7 to 10 days of time onto that crop to get that up to tassel and pollination. That could be a tremendous benefit as we approach the month of July, when we would typically have hot, dry weather, to try to beat that.
Logan Agri-Service was a guest yesterday on RFD Profit Watch. From northern to southern Illinois this week with our Crop Watchers 2.0 team comes a similar theme, that acres that will lie fallow this year and covered by prevent planting as a result of the extreme wet weather. First up north, McHenry County farmer John Bartman says he's thrown in the towel on some of the acres he intended to plant corn, and it's an uneasy feeling.
I feel kind of weird because I just feel incomplete. You'd like to have everything done, but at the same time, there's nothing that you can do about it. We have the insurance. We paid for it. So we're gonna exercise the right. So we went to the FSA office and we certified and for preventive planting. So there's a lot of that going on here in northern Illinois as well, but there's some corn that's up and looks good. And beans are starting to come too, but there obviously aren't as many beans as there are corn planted.
Down south, Crop Watcher 2.0 team member Bryce Williams has found himself in a similar situation. Williams farms in White County, where they had close to 2 inches of rain last weekend. He says, we got kind of lucky since some farmers to the west had up to 6 more inches of precip since last week.
The cutoff for beans is the 20th. I'd say there's going to be a lot of preventive planted double crop beans and a lot of even just regular beans. I know we're going to have some now for sure. Corn planting, I'm assuming, is completely over. I've not heard of anybody planting any corn the past week, but I hope somewhere somebody's able to do something.
As far as the other team members in eastern, western, and the central parts of the state, you can hear and see more, including photos and video at farmweeknow.com. The International Renewable Energy Agency says 11 million people were employed in renewable energy worldwide in 2018, up from 10.3 million in 2017. China, the U.S., and the European Union have the most renewable energy industries in the world, although Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam had the biggest growth in 2018, both from panels and wind, most active of renewable industries. Rita has more next on RFD, Illinois.
Farm Week and Partners Magazine editor Chris Anderson connects rural routes for you. Chris shares her 4 decades of writing expertise by making sure each edition delivers the best information. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I was raised on a farm in Champaign County growing corn, soybeans, popcorn, pumpkins, and poultry. My top priority is to inform, educate, and even entertain Farm Bureau members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
The Illinois economy runs on our homegrown agricultural products. Our dairy, beef, pork, corn, and soybeans grow the agricultural industry by nearly $20 billion each year. But we don't just grow Illinois, we grow North America. Canada and Mexico account for over $45 billion in U.S. agricultural exports, and they support more than 1 million American jobs. Exports to Canada and Mexico matter to everyone in the agriculture and food industries.
A message from Illinois farmers and their checkoff programs.
As a farmer, your needs are constantly changing, and Country Financial is here to continuously change with you to meet those needs. That's why we're expanding our crop hail coverage to now include industrial hemp crops, a legal agricultural commodity according to the 2018 Farm Bill. As you add new crops to your operation, we're here growing with you every step of the way. Learn more at countryfinancial.com/hemp coverage. Crop hail insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
We're back here on RFD, Illinois. I'm Rita Frazier. Congressional Democrats say they're not ready yet to take up the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, the administration's top trade goal, next to resolving a months-long tariff war with China. RFD Washington correspondent Matt Kay has the story.
There's new hope for ending the U.S.-China tariff war as the two nations' top leaders meet at the G20 summit in Japan next week. But back home, Hill Democrats claim USMCA lacks enough enforcement of labor and environmental provisions to win their support. Top Senate Ag Democrat Debbie Stabenow at a Senate Finance hearing on trade.
There's a lot of work that's been done, but we're not there yet, and specifically on enforcement and labor and the environment.
Top Senate Finance Democrat Ron Wyden challenged U.S. Trade Ambassador Robert Lighthizer to work with his party on enforcement.
Will you commit to working with members of Congress to do whatever it takes, and I want to emphasize, whatever it takes to address these core concerns so that we can say we turn the page and now finally we have trade enforcement with teeth in it?
Yes. But the House must act first, and Senate Finance Chair Chuck Grassley denies that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, whom he met with recently, is stalling action ahead of an election year.
Definitely, Pelosi is not slow-walking it first. There's a lot of new members that are very anxious to be heard, and a lot of hand-holding that has to be done.
Lighthizer says Pelosi has been fair and constructive in negotiating a path forward for ratifying USMCA.
I know that generally what people want, and I know what we can do. I just need to get somebody that can sit down there and on the other side that'll say, yes, this is enough. And the Speaker is sympathetic to that, and she has facilitated that, and I think we're making progress in that, and my hope is that over the course of the next couple of weeks, we can make substantial progress.
On a deal that could boost U.S. farm exports by more than $2 billion and add more than 500,000 jobs to the U.S. economy. But lawmakers have up to 90 days to review USMCA once Pelosi and Lighthizer clear a path for the White House to send up an implementing bill, leaving little time to act before an election year. For the RFD Radio Network, Matt Kay on Capitol Hill.
Thanks, Matt. And we caught up with another pioneer field agronomist yesterday covering northern Illinois along the I-80 corridor, Jason McVickers, and he tells us more about what he's seeing, what he's talking about this week.
I covered the northern part of Illinois, so along the Interstate 80 corridor from about Princeton over to Morris and north and south from there. There's no doubt that this spring has been challenging getting the crop in. Had a few pockets around Easter that were able to get some corn in the ground, but really most of the progress was made within the last 10-day planting window in June. And even with that later planting, I've been really impressed with how quick the crop came out of the ground and how good the stand looks. The biggest question is what we're going to get for heat units and GDUs to finish that crop out as we progress through the season. Interesting conversation you and I were having today about asking so much of this corn crop, and we do. Absolutely. The early planted stuff that was around that Easter time frame, it amazed me that it sat in the ground for a good 4 weeks and still was able to emerge. And really, I thought the stands looked pretty good on that earlier planted stuff. Now it's running into some challenges as well as we're starting to see a transition from that seed reserve to the root. Some unevenness, some yellowing, things like that. But as the season progresses, and even on this some of this later planted corn, there's no doubt that it's going to be in a higher risk factor for a high disease environment. And we really need to put our management hats on and take a look at some of those higher risk environments, corn on corn, for example, and try to get a plan in place based off of the hybrid, the environment, when it comes to foliar fungicide applications, because standability is going to be critical. Plant health is going to be critical. We're going to be harvesting wetter corn than what we typically do, and therefore it's going to max out some of our drying capabilities, and we're going to ask that crop to stand even longer. And if it goes unprotected or if it's lower on disease tolerance, it could be a challenging fall.
So as you said, underlying your message, even though no one wants to put more money in this crop, a consideration of those factors should be made here in mid-June.
Absolutely.
Jason McVicker, Pioneer Field agronomist. More with Jason later this week on RFD Today. Finally, the U.S. and Canada Monday announced a plan to allow for safe trade to continue if African swine fever is reported in either country. The USDA and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency have worked to modify their export certificates to allow trade of live swine, pet food, and animal byproducts and meat to continue in approved disease-free zones in the event of an ASF outbreak. Zoning is an internationally recognized tool used to help manage diseases and facilitate trade. If a case of ASF is identified, geographic boundaries are defined to contain the outbreak. Geographic boundaries are control zones established under the World Organization for Animal Health guidelines. Let's break for markets and weather. This is RFD, Illinois.
Here's your Wednesday morning ag market summary. I'm Rita Frazier here on the RFD Radio Network. Corn futures ended the turnaround Tuesday session yesterday with 4 to 6 cent losses in most nearby contracts. Profit taking after hitting a 5-year high on Monday weighed on the market. Some pressure also came from weakness wheat as the nearby Kansas City wheat corn spread was 16.5 cents at the close. That was the lowest since 2013. Monday's crop progress report showed that Ohio still has 32% of the corn crop left to be seeded, Illinois 12%. EIA will release their weekly ethanol production and stocks data later this morning. Soybean futures closed yesterday with most contracts fractionally to 2 cents higher. Forecast for heavy rainfall totals in most of the Corn Belt, with 23% of the crop left to be planted, supported the market. Now in our overnight trade, corn July is trading down 2 3/4, 447. December corn down 4 1/2 this morning, 458 1/2, and the March down 4 1/2, 463 3/4. In the overnight for July, beans were down 3, 910 1/2. September trades down 3 1/4. And November soybeans down 3, we're at 937 1/4. July wheat Chicago down 7 1/4, we're at 524 1/4. And December down 7 1/2 at 539 1/4. Checking your outside markets, the July crude oil contract down 753.83. August down 3 at 54.08. Those are your numbers on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Rita Frazier.
Good morning, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather with the early morning ag weather update on the RFD Radio Network for this Wednesday morning. Coverage of rain across Illinois remains somewhat spotty the past 24 hours, with most rainfall amounts reported since early Tuesday on the light side. Daytime highs in the upper 70s and 80s were common across the area. Greater coverage of rain occurred the past 24 hours in some western and southeastern parts of the Midwest, and the system in the western areas will bring increasing coverage of some rain and thunderstorms to Illinois today into this evening. This initial chance for rain will likely produce some 1/4 1-inch rainfall amounts across the area over the next 12 to 18 hours before moving on to the east. Some brief dry time will return to the state late tonight and Thursday, but overall the weather pattern will stay active into the first half of next week. Additional systems moving in from the west will bring showers and thunderstorms back into the region Thursday night and Friday, with off and on shower and thunderstorm chances lasting at least into the first part of next week. Total rainfall amounts over the next 5 days will likely be in the 1 to 3 inch range across most of Illinois and surrounding areas. Daytime highs across the Midwest on most days through the weekend will be in the 70s and 80s. A few spots in the south could reach 90 degrees, and a few cooler readings are possible in the northern Midwest. Looking ahead into the 6 to 10 day time frame, it looks like this active weather pattern will continue early in that period, with 6 to 10 day average rainfall being fairly close to normal across the area. It still looks like there will be a trend for some warmer and somewhat drier conditions Later in the 6 to 10 day period into the 11 to 15 day time frame, where temperatures warm above normal on a more consistent basis for several days, and rainfall amounts drop to near and below normal later in the 6 to 10 day through the 11 to 15 day time frame. Once again, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather.
If you're in the mood for some sprucing up, you're in luck. From big to small or farm to front yard, your Illinois Farm Bureau member discount from John Deere is ready and waiting to help. It's easy to think green when it's the Rewards Loyalty Program with savings on equipment, special parts, and home and workshop products. Whether your tasks involve mowing, planting, or cleaning, you'll be set for whatever your work requires. All you need to do is sign up, have your membership number handy, and go to johndeere.com/farm bureau.
Are dicamba products an important part of your toolbox this planting season? The state of Illinois has revised the cutoff date for their use. You can use the products over the top of soybeans until whichever of these comes first. 45 days post-planting, your soybeans reach the V4 or R1 growth stage depending on the product, or July 15th. State-specific labels work in conjunction with federal labels, so make sure you read and follow both. Remember, the label is the law. To find out more, visit ilfb.org/label-aware.
When it comes to social media, Sabrina Berkowitz connects rural routes for you. Sabrina covers a broad range of ag topics, so Farm Bureau members are the first to know about key issues. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up with a grain and livestock farm in my extended family, and today I really enjoy helping people learn how to use social media to advocate for agriculture.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
What's the excitement about buying a brand new car when you pay full price for it? County Farm Bureau members have a reason to be excited. A Farm Bureau membership gives you 2 car purchase discounts. When members buy a new Ford vehicle, they receive $500 off their purchase. And with the purchase of a qualifying Lincoln vehicle, they receive $750 off. Everyone loves a good deal, and the money saved is worth the price of our annual membership. This is just one of our 300,000 plus discounts that are always changing to fit our members' needs. Not a Farm Bureau member? Visit Illinois Farm Bureau online and join today.
That's all the time we have for RFD Illinois. We salute a community each day. And on this day, well, how is it pronounced? Is it cash? Is it cache? Or is it a third pronunciation? Unincorporated community down in Alexander County, sometimes known as North Cairo. We say hello. Sponsored by Country Financial. Your farm is your family's legacy and part of your hometown heritage. While you work sun up to sundown to get the job done, we're here protecting things you love every step of the way. Country Financial. Learn more by visiting countrycrop.com. For Rita Frazier, for the vacationing Jim Taylor, I'm DeLoss Yankee. Have a great Wednesday.